So good morning. We will start our discussion. Have you come back to the campus, first year students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Under quarantine now, is it?
Yes, sir. We are in quarantine.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. So any questions regarding the course project that you have to do? So we will have the presentations during the last week of the course. Okay. So most probably there are going to be physical presentations, means in the classroom. I'm not sure. Means I think we will have to start classroom teaching from second week of November or something like that. So in that case, we will finish by 14th, and then this 15th and 17th of November we will have the presentations. 22 there is a class, but we will not take that. We will try to finish within before that. So 15th and 17th most probably. If it gets delayed, then 17th and 22. But 22 I don't want to take because then you have exams from 24th. So let us see. So we are discussing about calculation of flow field. Okay. And before starting with the algorithms, we'll start with simple, then go to simpler, simplex and piezo. Before starting with the algorithms, we were discussing about some of the difficulties that we face while using or while calculating the while trying to discretize the flow field equations. Okay. So what were the difficulties we have discussed in the previous class? The main difficulties are that the pressure field is unknown and there are no equations separately for pressure. The velocity components are also unknown, u, v and w, but there are equations for each of them. So we know how to tackle them. But for pressure, because there is no equation, we have to devise a mechanism to derive a equation for pressure from the continuity equation, which is an additional equation that is present. You can see my notes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And two other difficulties were present. One is that the momentum equations are non-linear, means the coefficients will have terms with the presence of velocity magnitude like u, v, w like this. So as a result, the coefficients themselves will be unknown. So we need to solve in an iterative manner to avoid or to overcome that problem. So for example, the coefficient, the u, v and w that are present in the coefficient can be taken from the previous iteration, and based on that new value of u, v and w can be calculated, and then this can be again used for the next iteration. The third difficulty was that the equations are coupled. It means that in the equation of u, there are terms of v and w in pressure. So all the four equations and four unknowns, u, v, w and p, need to be solved simultaneously to get the correct solution. Because for solving u, we need the value of v. For solving v, we need the value of u. Similarly for the other cases. So they need to be solved together, again by iterative manner. Couple of more problems we discussed with the uh, definition of the velocity field at the center of the grid, at the grid points, at the center of control volume. One was that the pressure term, pressure gradient term after integration causes problem because the term corresponding to the grid point P is missing for the pressure gradient at P. So we write it in terms of PW and P east. So as a result, it becomes the calculation is based on a coarser grid, and also in some cases, if there is a very unphysical solution where the value at P is different from E and W, still the equation may think that, or it may consider that uh, the gradient is 0 because it is based on alternating points. So intermediate point values are not considered. So this is a big problem. Similarly, for continuity equation also we found the same problem exists. Intermediate values are not considered, alternating values are only considered. So as a result, if the value in between is unphysical, it will be ignored by the discretized form of the continuity equation. To avoid this, towards the end of the last class, we had discussed uh, another type of grid arrangement where the velocity field is staggered, or the grids for the velocity are offset from the main grid points by half a grid. Okay. So for example, we have discussed that for u velocity, the grid is offset along the x direction, and the velocity. So the velocity is stored at the center of, or at the grid point corresponding to the u velocity grid, but this point itself is at the face of the main grid. Okay, this point itself is at the face of the main grid that we had discussed previously. Similarly, for the v velocity, so this was the case. So it is offset in the y direction by half a grid. So for the v velocity, it is stored at its own control volume center, but that point corresponds to the face of the main grid, main control volume. Okay. Similarly, the faces of this velocity control volume align with the grid points or the center of the main control volumes, okay, because they are offset by half control volume. And by doing this, we can avoid the difficulties we had seen regarding integration of pressure and the continuity equation. The only difficulty is that this is more computationally intensive, and obviously this is not possible for unstructured grid where there is no say x direction, y direction, everything is jumbled up. So we cannot shift something in the x direction or y direction. So today we will start with the simple algorithm, okay, which is one of the most fundamental algorithms for calculation of flow field. Okay. So these type of algorithms are pressure based algorithms, okay, because the continuity equation is modified to the pressure equation, and the solution is done based on the calculation of pressure in some or other way. So all the simpler algorithms, these are all pressure based algorithms. So the calculation depends on the calculation of the pressure. Let us try to understand this algorithm. Okay. So one of the most fundamental algorithms, and derivatives of this algorithm has been developed for better accuracy and better efficiency, but still this remains one of the most useful algorithm. Okay, although it was developed long back, 50 years back, when computer, like numerical computing, was at a very early stage. Computers were very basic. So this full form of the simple algorithm is semi-implicit method for pressure linked equations. Okay. Semi-implicit, we will see why it is semi-implicit. Pressure linked equations because all the equations are linked by the pressure or calculated via the pressure terms. Okay. Pressure calculation, we'll see. Actually pressure correction calculation, but that we will see. So to do this, we will try to understand the algorithm based on the staggered velocity field. Okay. and we will assume a 3D case and discuss about the u momentum equation, but whatever we discuss holds true for the v and w momentum equations also. Staggered velocity field is assumed. So 3D with staggered velocity field. This is the grid structure. Only the plane is shown. Remember that for 3D we will also have the top and bottom points. Okay, top point is out of the plane towards you from the screen, and bottom point is inside the screen. Okay, behind the plane. And then we have the east point, west point, north and south, as you already know. And the main grid point is P. Okay, and this is the main control volume. So the control volume for U, which is staggered, we will take this as this control volume. Okay, the diagram is very inaccurate. So this is the control volume for U. Okay, it is shifted by half. So this velocity is stored at the center of its corresponding control volume, but at the face of the main control volume. So this, let us call it as UE. Okay, and the original grid points P and D are at the face of the control volume of U. Okay, original grid points P and D are at the face of the main control volume U. This is the velocity. So remember that we can still discretize the equations. So these are the equations. Okay. It may look very small. Let me just show it here once. So the U momentum equation is given here. So we have the unsteady term, then the three convective terms, then the three viscous terms, pressure gradient, and if there is any source term, that is also present. Okay. So except the pressure gradient, all the terms are similar to what we have discussed previously. The unsteady term, the advective terms, the viscous terms are the diffusive terms, and the source term. So we can use any of the methods or any of the schemes to discretize these terms. Okay. For example, upwind scheme or power loss scheme or any of the schemes. Okay. Central difference scheme. So if you do that, what will we get? We will get an equation of the form A. So in this case, we will call this as coefficients as AEUE. Okay. Let me come back to this. So for this UE term, okay, so we'll get AEUE as summation of all the neighboring points A and B, U and B plus B if there is any source term. So this part is fine. Okay. If we do not have the pressure gradient, we will have AEUE is equal to summation A and B, U and B plus B. The pressure gradient term creates this additional term AE PP minus PE. Okay, we will discuss this in a minute. But what are these neighboring velocities? So the U velocities are staggered, right? So the west is this neighboring velocity, okay, which is on the other face of the main control volume. Then you have another velocity here, okay, and then this is the another velocity, okay. These are at the, so these are not staggered in the y direction, only staggered in the x direction. Okay, u velocities are only staggered. We are only staggered in the x direction. We have discussed this in the previous class. Similarly, v velocities are only staggered in the y direction. So these are its neighboring points. Okay, they are only staggered in the x direction by half control volume, but not staggered in the y direction. So the height of them are same as the height of the main control volume P or main grid point P. So in terms of this, we write this as summation A and B, U and B plus B. So what is this AE PP minus P term? So this is the finite volume discretization or discretized form of the pressure gradient term. How do we discretize the pressure or any terms in finite volume method? We integrate it over the entire control volume, right? So integration over the entire control volume minus dp dx, because we are integrating over the control volume, we have dx, dy and dz. Okay. So it will lead to ae into pp minus pe. So because we are going from, so the gradient is from in the along the x direction. While you integrate it, so along the x direction you will get. So if it was dp dx, we will get pe minus pp. Okay. But because there is a negative sign, we are getting pp minus p. So this is the difference along the x direction. Along the y and z direction, we do not have any derivative. So we will just get delta y and delta z by integrating along the y and z direction. So ultimately what we will get is A into pp minus p, where A is the cross sectional area, which is equal to 1. Let me keep this open. So A is equal to 1 for a 1D problem. So 1D problem, we will just get 1 into pp minus p. We have seen this in the previous class. For a 2D problem, A is equal to delta y. So the cross sectional area is equal to the length along the y direction. So basically this length is delta y. This into the pressure difference. Okay. And for a 3D problem, we will get delta y into delta z. So the cross sectional area perpendicular to the velocity, u velocity. In this case, 2D problem also, it is the cross sectional area perpendicular to the u velocity. In 3D also, it is the area perpendicular to the u velocity. But in that case, it is equal to delta y into delta z. But the form remains same. Whether it's a 1D problem, 2D problem or 3D problem, we get A into pp minus p. Okay. This p is also unknown. So it is not included in the main source term B. Okay. And remember that we have already discussed, except the pressure term, all other terms are treated in a similar way to previous convection diffusion problems. So all the other terms are discretized easily. Easily means we know how to discretize them based on the previous discussion of the previous chapters. So that means that if P is given to us, we can directly solve equation 1. Okay, this is equation 1. So if by chance or by any means P is given to us, then this term is known, and all the other terms can be solved based on the coefficients using iterative methods, and we can obtain the velocity u, v and w. Okay. So similar equations will exist for the v velocity and w velocity, and this equation will be present for all the grid points. So the u equation is present for all the u velocity grid points. Similarly, if the v equation is present for all the v velocity grid points, and w equation will be present for all the w velocity grid points. What will be the number of grid points? So if in each direction we have, say, n number of points, then we have n cube number of grid points. Okay, because we have to consider control volume along the 3 directions. So if we have discretized the wall domain into 100 points in each direction, we will have 1 million points at which the u velocity is stored. Okay, similarly 1 million points for the v velocity and 1 million points for the w velocity, 100 cube. So we need to solve 1 million equations for the u velocity, 1 million for the v velocity and 1 million for the w velocity iteratively. Although it looks like a lot of calculation, using modern computational power, it is feasible. It is not too difficult. Like one time step will not take too much time. One iteration will take a few seconds. Although the entire problem will take a lot of time, because you need to run thousands of iterations or lakhs of iterations, but one iteration will not take much time. So the only problem comes if the P is unknown. Okay, like in a realistic problem, and we need to calculate the value of P. So to get this value of P, we need to devise a mechanism where we can derive the value of P using the continuity equation, which is the extra equation that is available to us. So in this case, if P is unknown, what we can do in this algorithm, what we do is we start with a guess pressure field. Okay. Why we start with a guess pressure field? Because if this pressure field can be somehow known, so for example, even if it is not correct, but still we can replace the, or we can write the value of PP and P with some value, then we can solve this equation to get some value of U. Similarly, V and W. Okay. Obviously, these values will not be correct, U, V and W, because the value of P, which we write arbitrarily, will not be correct unless we are like infinitely lucky that our guess values are directly correct. In normal circumstances, guess values will not be correct, but we are just putting down some values, okay, and so that we can solve this numerically and get some values of U, V and W and proceed with the iteration. Okay. So to do this, we will start with a guess pressure field P star. Now, what will be the guess pressure field? It can be any guess value. So for each point, you need to guess the pressure. For example, the discussion I was telling you 100 grid points in each direction. So we'll have 100 cube points. So 1 million points. So for all these 1 million points, you need to guess the pressure field. Okay. So if it is the first time step and first iteration, there is no guidance for us to select the value of P star. So we can arbitrarily take them as 0 or some other value, okay, at all the points. If it is say the next iteration, we will already know what is the previous iteration value of pressure, and from that we can use that as the guess for the next iteration. If it is the start of the next time step, first iteration of the next time step, then again we have an idea of the pressure from the solution of the previous time step, and we can take that pressure as the guess pressure for the next time step. So it becomes easier to guess. Instead of taking very arbitrarily, we are taking from the previous time step, and in a time step it may not change too much. So the guess pressure will be more or less quite accurate. Okay. So anyhow, we just start with a guess or arbitrary pressure field. When we say field, pressure field, it means that all the points. So for all the points, we are guessing the pressure. Okay, we'll call this as P star because it's a guess field, not the correct field. Instead of P, we'll call this as P star. Please let me know if you have any questions in between when we are discussing. So then what we will do, we will solve the momentum equation. Okay, we start with a guess pressure field. The velocity field which satisfies the given pressure P star, let us call it as U star, V star and W star. Okay. So by solving the momentum equation, okay, let us, we need to solve it, but let me just first outline the the major steps here. Okay. So if you write with respect to, P star, okay, then the calculated velocity field, if we use P stars in the equation, the calculated velocity fields will obviously not be accurate because we are using some arbitrary value of pressure. So let us call this velocity as U star, V star and W star. Okay. For example, our momentum equation can be written as A U E star is equal to summation A and B U and B star plus B plus PP star minus P star A. It is the same equation as 1, but instead of the normal values, we have replaced them by the star values. Okay. So these U star values are the values which satisfies the momentum equation when the pressure values are given as P star values. The guess pressure values are used. Okay. As I have already stated, obviously this is not the correct velocity field unless we are infinitely lucky and the gas pressure field turns out to be correct, which will not happen in normal cases. Okay. So if we subtract the star field, okay, this gas equation from the actual equation. So if we subtract 2 from 1, what do we get? AE is minus. So in this case, we have AE minus AE star. So AE minus UE star is equal to summation A and B, UNB minus UNB star plus PP minus, so B and B gets cancelled, PP minus PP star minus P minus P star into AE. Okay. Let us call these differences between the star values, which are the incorrect velocity and pressure fields, and the correct velocity and pressure fields are the non-star values, which we do not know. These are unknown. UE, UNB, these terms are unknown. Okay. So UE, UNB, pressure, these are all unknown, but these are correct. Means if the correct pressure field is given, then the correct velocity will be obtained. Okay. So the difference between the correct and the star values are given as dash values, okay, and are known as correction terms. Okay. Obviously, we don't know the correct values, okay, but if we knew the correction terms, and we can calculate the star terms. So if we knew the correction terms, then we can add them to the star terms to get the correct field. Okay, let us see how. So subtracting equation 2 from 1, A UE minus UE star is equal to summation A and B, UNB minus UNB star plus PP minus PP star minus P minus P star A. So we can write this as A UE dash, where UE dash is UE minus UE star, difference between the correct value and the star value. Summation A and B UNB dash. So again UNB is dash is difference between the correct neighboring velocity UNB and the star neighboring velocity. Okay. Plus PP dash minus PE dash. So PP dash is the difference between the correct pressure PP and the star pressure or gas pressure PP star. Similarly, PE dash is the difference between the correct pressure P and the gas pressure P star. So these dash terms are known as correction terms, and their importance is that if we somehow can calculate this, okay, or we will see later that if we can calculate only the pressure dash term, P dash term, we will be able to find out the correct velocity field, okay, by adding them to the star values. So by adding them to the star values, we can calculate the correct field. So now we have to take a big approximation, not approximation, but what we will do is actually we will omit one of the terms from this equation. Okay. We will omit the summation A and B UNB dash. So this equation that is present for the correction term, up to this point, this is exactly correct. Okay. So now what we will do, so what is the problem with this summation A and B UNB term? This contains, so for calculation of each, so if we want to solve this equation, for calculation of each of these u terms, say UE, so for this grid point, we have all the neighboring values of the velocity correction. Similarly, for calculation of the neighboring velocity, we will have each neighboring velocity correction. So ultimately, all the neighboring velocity corrections are linked together. So they need to be solved simultaneously. Okay, which is not feasible in this case. Okay, so to avoid this complication and simplify the calculation, what we are going to do is we will omit this term. Okay, so you can say that how will the solution be correct if we omit a term? So we'll see. We'll discuss now what happens even if we omit this term while the procedure is still correct. Okay. So when we reach the, so when we omit this term, what will happen? The calculated terms, U dash calculated terms or the dash terms will obviously not be correct. Okay, but they will go towards the correct direction. So although they are not correct, you will be able to calculate some values, and if you add them to the star values, you will have a better approximation or better value of u in the next iteration. Remember that this is an iterative method. So initially with the gas pressure field, we have obtained a velocity field u star, v star and w star, which is very incorrect because the gas pressure field was very arbitrary. Now we can calculate this UE dash terms, Vn dash terms like this, all the velocity correction based on the pressure correction, and add them to the star terms to get the better values of u, v and w. Okay. Obviously this will not be correct, okay, because we have omitted this term, but this will be a better value. Then we can again continue this process and until we reach the correct solution in an iterative method. So when you reach the correct solution, anyway the star values, the meaning of correct solution is what? That we have the star values that we are calculating have become the correct values. So there is no difference between the star values and the actual correct values, which were the unknown values. So when we reach the correct solution, anyway this UE dash terms and UNB dash terms goes to 0. Okay. So it does not matter when you reach the correct solution, it does not matter that we have omitted this term. The only thing that will happen is that the rate at which we go towards the correct solution will get changed by omitting this term. Okay. But we will avoid all this complicated coupling between all the points by omitting this point. Let me read out this point like I have summarized here. So we'll drop the term summation A and B U and B from the equation to simplify this calculation. So this is okay as when we reach the correct solution, the correction terms are anyway equal to 0. Okay, when you reach the correct solution, this UE dash terms are 0, UNB dash terms are 0. Okay, so this does not matter that this has been omitted. Okay, however, this will affect the rate of convergence as I was saying. Because you omitted some term, it goes towards the correct solution at a different rate. Okay. So it affects the rate of convergence, that is the rate at which we go towards the correct solution, although we will reach the correct solution. We will reach the correct solution, but at a different rate, at a slower rate. Okay. So by omitting this term, what we get is this equation. Okay. So this was the equation. By omitting this term, we get AUE dash is equal to PP dash minus PE dash into capital AE. Okay. So here PP dash and PE dash are unknown, UE dash is also unknown. Small a and capital A are known. Okay. Small a is the coefficient. Coefficient can be calculated based on known values, and A is the area, cross-sectional area. For 3D, it is delta y into delta z for U equation. For V equation, it will be delta z into delta x. For W equation, it will be delta x into delta y. So we can write this as UE dash is equal to capital A by small a into PP dash minus P dash. This capital A by small e, we will call it as DE. Okay. So UE dash is equal to DE PP dash minus PE dash. This equation is known as velocity correction formula. Okay. So if we can somehow calculate this pressure correction terms PP dash and PE dash, then we can calculate what is UE dash and add this to the star values, which were the incorrect values that we had obtained with incorrect or gas pressure field. Okay. And go towards the correct solution, okay, by adding them to the star values. Obviously, this UE dash will not be correct in one go because we have omitted some terms. So UE dash will not be correct, but it will give us a mechanism of going towards the correct solution if we know what is the PP dash and PE dash values. So this is like a mechanism for updating the velocity field. How we will update the velocity field? Somehow we have to calculate the PP dash and PE dash terms. Then we can calculate UE dash from these equations for each grid point. Remember, for each grid point, if you have 1 million grid points, we need to do this calculation for 1 million grid points. Then we have to add it to the star values. How did we get the star values? By solving the momentum equation with the gas pressure field. Okay, by solving the momentum equation with the gas pressure field, we obtain the star values of or the incorrect values of u, v, and w. Okay, so now we will add this correction formula to update the velocity field. This velocity field will not become correct in one iteration, but it will go towards the correct solution. Okay, if we keep on doing that, then we will go towards the correct solution and ultimately reach the converse solution. So this equation is the velocity correction formula. Okay, now the problem is reduced to this. So the problem is reduced to finding some method for developing some method to find out the value of all the pressure dash terms, pressure correction terms. Okay, these are known as pressure correction terms. So somehow if we can manage to get the pressure correction terms, we know what to do now. So we will start with a guess value of pressure. Then we will calculate the star value of u, v, and w. Then we need some mechanism to find the pressure corrections. Then we will update the velocity field by adding this through this equation. Okay, and similarly we will add the pressure corrections to the star value of pressure to update the pressure field also, and we will go to the next iteration with the new calculated pressure field as the guess pressure field and calculate the new velocity field and continue and so on and so forth. So calculation of P dash term. Okay, so we have the extra equation, continuity equation. We will try to use that to calculate the pressure correction term. Any questions up to this point? Anyway, we will summarize all this once all the steps are discussed. So pressure correction equation. Okay, so we want to derive an equation which will lead us to the solution of the pressure correction terms. Okay, we will call this as pressure correction equation. So to calculate this, we will assume that pressure is not a function of density. Actually, it can be also done with pressure as a function of density, but it is more complicated. So for this simple case, we will assume that pressure is not a function of density. So if you remember the continuity equation, which you should do always, the continuity equation for the 3D case is given as del rho del t plus del x of rho u plus del y of rho v plus del z of rho w equal to 0. Okay. This we have discussed in the previous classes, even towards the beginning of the course also we have discussed. So del rho del t plus del x of rho u plus del y of rho v plus del z of rho w equal to 0. So because we are trying to derive an equation for pressure correction, so we will use the main control volumes. Pressures are stored at the main control volume centers or the main grid points. Okay. So the grid point for this case, will be at the center, means at the main control volume, and at the center of the main control volume, which corresponds to the point P. Okay. Remember, the velocities are stored at the face of the main control volume. So U is stored on this east face. Okay. So U is stored at its own control volume center, but it corresponds to the main control volume face. So here U is stored. Similarly, UW is stored on this west face. VN is stored on the north face, and VS is stored on the south face. Okay. Similarly, top and bottom will be stored on the top and bottom face. Okay. So all the faces have velocity fields. So that was the reason we use staggered grid. Okay, because we do not need to interpolate the velocity field at the interfaces. We already have the velocity values at the interface of the main control volume. Okay, by staggering the velocity control volumes. So integrating over the main control volume P. Okay, we will integrate this continuity equation by using our finite volume formulation along the x, y, and z. Okay. So if you do that, you will get. So first term is derivative with respect to time. So we'll get variation with respect to time, rho p minus rho p 0, where rho p 0 is the previous time step value of density at the grid point P, and rho p is the current time step value of density at the grid point P. So current time step minus previous time step, or current iteration minus previous, not current iteration, current time step minus previous time step. Okay, because we are integrating over the time. Okay, into delta x, delta y, delta z, because we are integrating over the entire control volume also. So basically you are doing four integrals with respect to x, y, z and t. Okay, divided by delta t is equal to, so if you do this integral, you will get rho u at east point minus rho u at west point into delta y delta z. Okay, this variation of x manifests as difference between the east and west faces multiplied by the area of the east and west faces. Similarly, the variation with y manifests as difference between the north and south faces. So rho vn minus rho vs into area of the north and south face, which is delta z delta x. Similarly, the third term comes out to be rho w top minus rho w bottom into delta x delta y. Okay. At this point, these u velocity fields are still unknown. Okay. So what we are going to do next? We are going to replace this all the velocity components by the velocity correction equations. What was the velocity correction equation? This ue is equal to u star plus d p dash minus p dash. Okay. So this ue we will replace as ue star plus d pp dash minus ppe dash. This uw will replace as uw star plus dw pw dash minus pp dash. Similarly, all the others can be also done. Vn and vs. Okay. Vn star plus dn pp dash minus pn dash. Similarly, vs. Similarly, wt and wv. All this can be replaced using this type of velocity correction formulas. Okay. So if you do that, what will you get? Each of these terms will now have the pressure correction terms pp dash minus pe dash for this one. Okay. So similarly for this one we will have pw dash minus pp dash. For this one you will have pp dash minus pn dash. This one will have ps dash minus pp dash. So pp dash is present for all the terms. Okay. And then the corresponding pressure correction for the east, west, north, south, top and bottom control volume. Okay. So 6 pp dash term will be present corresponding to the P control volume, and then for each term we will have one neighboring point. Okay. East, west, north, south, top, bottom. And the other term that is present is all this U star, UW star, VN star, VS star, WT star and WV star terms. These are also present. So rho E into U star, this type of terms are present. So if you rearrange all this, you can try it on your own. I will do it using less number of steps. But if you want to write and do it, you can do it later on. So if you rearrange all this, you will get an equation which looks like this. APPP dash is equal to AEPE dash plus AWPW dash plus ANPN dash plus ASPS dash ATPT dash plus ABPB dash. Remember that we will get all this pressure correction. So P dash from this term, PW dash from this term, PN dash from this term, PS dash from this term. So like this. Okay. And then PP dash we will get from each of the term. Okay. And all the star terms, UE star term, velocity star terms, we can put together in this term B. Okay. I will explain the reason why it is put there. Okay. So first let us check out what are the coefficient values. So because you are replacing this U by UE star plus DE PP dash minus PE dash. The coefficient of PE dash will be rho E into DE, okay, rho E into DE into delta Y delta Z. Okay, so rho E DE delta Y delta Z. Similarly, this for this term, coefficient will be rho W into dW delta Y delta Z. Rho W dW delta Y delta Z. Similarly, all the other terms can be calculated. Rho N dN delta Z delta X, rho S ds delta Z delta X. Okay. So this rho values at the interfaces can be calculated by interpolation based on the grid point values. Okay. What about the DE values? What does this DE, what does it represent? It represents AE by small AE. Remember that small a is the coefficient, it can be calculated. Okay. Previously we have seen how to calculate based on any of the equation. The coefficient will be different form. If you use power law scheme or upwind scheme, it will be of different form, but it can be calculated. And A is the area, cross-sectional area. So that also obviously we can calculate based on the discretized grid structure. So finally we have all the values of D, rho E and delta Y delta Z. Okay. So we can calculate AE, AW, AN, AS, AT and AV. So all this can be calculated, and AP is a summation of AE, AW, AN, AS, AT and AB. Why? Because each of the term also has this pressure correction term. So for pressure correction, each of the coefficients will be present from this term, this and this. So it will have AE plus AW plus AN plus AS plus AT plus AV. Okay. So this is the equation for pressure correction. So if we know what is B, we can solve this equation to calculate the pressure correction terms. Okay. We can solve this equation for each grid point we will have a pressure correction term. For this pH grid point we have a pressure correction terms. Obviously it has the unknown values from its neighboring grid points. But if there are n points, like 1 million points, you will have 1 million pressure correction equation. You can solve them together to obtain all the 1 million pressure correction terms. Okay. So we can solve them in a couple of minutes to get all them. Simultaneously we can solve them to get all the values, like we do for other cases like previously discussed. Okay. So only thing that needs to be known is the value of B. Okay. What is the value of B? So this term is present in B. Okay, this term is present because this was not considered anywhere else. So because it is taken to the other side, the sign changes, so it becomes rho P0 minus rho P, delta X, delta Y, delta Z by delta T. Okay. So these terms are known, density also are known as stored at the center points. If we assume that density is not changing, this term actually will be 0. Even if density is changing, it is possible to calculate. So density will be related to, or density can be calculated based on some, say density is a function of temperature. So based on other calculations, the density can be updated. Rho U star minus rho U star W, or rho W minus U star W minus rho E minus, sorry, rho E U E star. Okay. So all the rho values are all obviously can be calculated at the interface, and the star values of velocity which have come from each of these term. So this has given U star, this has given, sorry, this has given UE star, this has given UW star, VN star, VS star. All these are put together in the source term B because these are already calculated. Okay. Although these are not correct, these have been calculated by using the guess pressure field. Okay. So the star terms are known at this point based on the guess pressure field. They are not correct, but they are known. Okay. So this value of B is known at this point. So with this known value of B, we can get the value of pressure correction and then use that in our pressure correction formula to update the new velocity field. Okay, and then we can proceed with the iterations. So this equation that we have derived is known as pressure correction equation, very important equation, pressure correction equation, because it is a mean of. So what we have done is cleverly change the continuity equation to some equation which is related to pressure field. Okay, because there was no equation for pressure field, we have modified the continuity equation itself to give information about the pressure field. Okay, so this has been derived using the continuity equation. We have discussed already. U star, V star, and W star are previously calculated values from momentum equation using the gas pressure field P star. If B becomes equal to 0 at some point during calculation, okay, it means that the star values satisfy. So this is the discretized form of the momentum equation. So it will mean that the star values satisfy the, sorry, this is the discretized form of the continuity equation. Okay, this equation. If the star value satisfies the continuity equation, then this B will become equal to 0. Okay, if the star values, so if you look at the continuity equation, discretized continuity equation, this is the discretized continuity equation, right? Rho p minus rho p 0, delta x, delta y, delta z by delta t. Okay, so if you take a negative of this, so then you will get this term rho p 0 minus rho p delta x, delta y, delta z by delta t. Similarly, you will get rho u w minus rho u east delta y, delta z, rho vs minus rho vn delta z, delta x. So all these terms will be present, except that instead of u, v, and w, we get the star values here. So if by chance the star values satisfy this this continuity equation, this term will become equal to 0. B will become equal to 0, because if the star value satisfies the continuity equation by this discretized form, we know that it will become equal to 0. So B equal to 0 means the momentum equation is satisfied by the star value. So B actually is a good indicator of how the convergence is proceeding. If the B value is getting reduced, it means that we are going more towards the correct solution. So to summarize, if B is 0, the start velocities along with the density change rho p minus rho p 0 satisfy the continuity equation and no pressure correction is needed. B acts like a mass source which goes towards 0 during the process of reaching convergence. Okay. Questions? So if there are no questions, let us take a break here and continue after 5 minutes. Okay. Think about this discussion and then, so that the next phase of the discussion becomes clear to you. Or if there are any issues, any problem with understanding this, because this is somewhat different, let me know so that I can clarify. So we'll continue. Sorry for the longer break. I got stuck in something. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Screen is also visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Math students, Madhumita, Priyal, you have understood the discussion today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will continue. So now we will let us try to put this all together, the simpler algorithm. Okay, a simple algorithm. Like we have gone through some steps in a jumbled way. So let us try to understand what will be the exact step by step procedure. Okay. So what we will do in this algorithm is we start with a guess pressure field. Okay. So now how to take that guess I have already discussed today. If it is the first iteration, like there is no hint of taking the pressure, no idea about what is the pressure field, you can take arbitrary, like you can take 0 everywhere, because generally we solve pressure as the gauge pressure. Gauge pressure means the difference with the atmospheric pressure, like relative pressure. So we can take 0 everywhere or some other value if you want. Okay. So if you are solving directly for the absolute pressure, then you can take atmospheric pressure. It can be very different from actual solution, but because there is no idea about what is the correct pressure, we can take. If there is a pressure boundary condition given, pressure value is given, we may take that value everywhere, assuming that the other values will be nearby that value. It will not matter in the correct solution, means correct solution will be the correct solution, whatever is the guess value. It will not alter the correct solution, obviously, but it will alter the rate at which you go towards the, means it not the rate, the number of steps required or number of iterations required to reach the correct solution will get changed. But you cannot do anything about that because you do not know what is the pressure field, so you have to take some guess. Now for subsequent iterations, you have a better guess because you know what is the previous pressure, previous iteration value of pressure. So we can take that as a guess for the next iteration. Similarly, when we start a new time step, again the first iteration in the new time step, we have to take a guess pressure. We can take it from the previous time step value of pressure. So all these subsequent calculations will have better guess values because they are based on some calculations. Once we have taken the guess pressure, next step is to solve the momentum equation. So next step is to solve equation 1, okay, which we have written in modified form as equation 2 if we using the term star. Okay. So we will solve this equation to get the star values of velocity u star, v star and w star. Okay. Remember that the star values are not the correct values because you have not taken the correct pressure field. You have just taken a guess pressure field. Say by very odd chance, somehow the correct pressure field has been guessed. Okay. Or the problem was such that the pressure field is uniform everywhere and you guess the correct pressure field, something like that. Then in one step you will get the correct velocity here. Okay, after solving the, because your pressure field will be correct, you will get the correct velocity field, but you will not be able to know at this point, but you will get the correct velocity field. But in general, what will happen, you will get some star values, which are just some intermediate values, not the correct values. Then once we get the star values, the next step is to formulate this or calculate the source term B of the pressure correction equation. Okay, so here we have all the u star values. All other terms are known. Okay, all other terms are known. Densities can be interpolated. So only values unknown were u star values, v star values, w star values. So we'll use this calculated u star, v star and w star to solve, first to calculate the source term B of the pressure correction equation. Then we will solve the pressure correction equation. Okay. So all AE, AW, ANS, AT and AB can be calculated. I have discussed today itself. So finally you can solve this equation with the calculated value of B to get the pressure correction field. Okay. Pressure correction field means for all the points you get the pressure correction terms. So if I have 1 million points, you get the pressure correction terms at all the 1 million points. Similarly, whatever I am discussing is for all the points. Okay. So once it is done, so once we have obtained the pressure correction terms, okay, these pressure correction terms will not be the exactly correct pressure correction terms. Remember, because we have taken the approximation here of omitting this term to simplify the calculation. Otherwise, the calculation would not have been possible like this. It would have become coupled and very difficult, non-linear. So we omitted this term, so we do not get the, because we omitted this term, and while calculating the pressure field in the continuity equation of velocity, we have used the approximate value u star plus d pp dash minus p dash. We do not use the exactly correct value. So we have what we have used is u is equal to u star plus d pp dash minus p dash. Okay, why is this approximate? Why I am calling this as approximate? Because in this term is not present. Okay, so when I have added this ue dash term to this u star, we did not include the neighboring velocity correction terms. Okay. As a result, when solving the pressure correction equation, we will not get the pressure correction terms correct in a single step. We will just go towards the correct solution. So once we obtain the P dash, we add it to P star to calculate or update the P. Okay. So P star was the gauge pressure. Now we have added the pressure correction to update the pressure. Now what is the next step? Pressure is updated. We have to update the velocities. So we have equations for updating the velocity, which are known as velocity correction terms or velocity correction formula. So U stars have been already calculated, U star, Vn star, Vs star, all this. Then we add this term d pp dash minus p dash, similarly all the other terms, and we calculate the new velocity. Okay. Obviously, this will not be the correct velocity, but an approximate velocity because of the omission of the term. But we will go towards the correct velocity. So we are updating to go towards the correct velocity. Once we have obtained the velocity field and pressure field, the calculation of momentum equation and continuity equation for this iteration is done. Then there may be some other equations like temperature equation, concentration equation. There also we have the advective term where the velocity field is used, right? So there we have to use this updated velocity field, what we have calculated till now. Okay, we can use that. So if you remember our discussion in the previous chapter, when we are using say upwind scheme or power law scheme or hybrid scheme, exponential scheme, we are assuming that the velocity is known, u is known, v is known, w is known, given to us. So that now can be taken from this calculation. Okay. So obviously this will not be again correct because this u, v and w are not correct. So our temperature calculation will also be approximate at this point. Okay. So then, but we need to do this because the temperature may be also used for calculating say density or other things in the momentum equation. So we cannot just keep the temperature equation aside and think that okay, we will first calculate the correct velocity field, later we will update the temperature with the correct velocity field, because in the velocity field the viscosity term, density term, they may be itself dependent on temperature. So we may have to, or other dependency can be there, maybe some source term is there in the momentum equation because of temperature gradient. We have seen this many times in our problems, like if there is natural convection, there is a source term which has the temperature difference in the momentum equation. So there, if you do not update the temperature at each iteration, your momentum equation source term will not be correct and your solution will not be correct for u, v and w. So you have to iterate temperature also and all the other things also within the same iteration. So once this is done, one iteration is complete, not one time step. Remember, time step is the step where we are calculating the final correct value at that time for all the variables. Then we go to the next time. Okay, next time step. So for example, if time step is 0.1 second and we have reached 10 second in simulation, we are simulating say melting of phase change material or melting of some metal, aluminium. Okay, we have reached 10 second and our time step is 0.1 seconds. So we are trying to calculate what will be the value of U, V, W or temperature at 10.1 second. Okay, so each time step will have many number of iterations to reach to this correct value. Okay, so this entire sequence of calculation gives us just one of the iteration. Then once we have reached that finishing of the iteration, we have not got the correct solution. Okay, we will continue with the iteration. How? We will take the new value of pressure as the gauge value for next iteration. So treat this P as the next pressure P star. Okay, and start the iteration again and do this iteration again. So, and we will keep on doing, and after each iteration we will see what is the difference of all the values U, V, W, P from the previous iteration value. And if this difference is relative difference is less than some tolerance, we will say that solution and converge. So it may take 20 iterations or 200 iterations to or whatever 179 iterations or 33 iterations to converge. Okay. So once the solution has converged, we say that the solution is acceptable. Then only we go to the next time step and again start with the iterations. Okay. So in each time step there are multiple number of iterations and then there are multiple number of time steps. So this is the algorithm for the simple method. Okay. So these are the steps that can be followed for calculating the simple method. Any questions? So because this course is a basic course, I do not give you to develop a code for writing the simple method or for implementing the simple method, which is quite complex actually, although the name is simple. So, but at least you should be able to be very clear about how this works. Okay. Although it looks like a few steps, actually writing the code is quite difficult because you have to all these coefficients for all the momentum equations have velocity fields, so it has to be iteratively done. Then we are just writing in one step solving the momentum equation, but you have three sets of equation for U, V and W for all grid points. So you have to run the loops for all the grid points. So a lot of it's a tricky thing, not so easy to implement. It's quite difficult to implement. So solving Navier-Stokes equations is very difficult as compared to all the other equations that we have studied till now. Okay. So it is beyond the scope at this point of the course. But if you are interested in some project or other things, later on you can try that. Although in most cases we have already developed codes for velocity solution, so we do not try to reinvent the wheel because we have something which is already working. We focus on new physics instead of writing the same thing again and achieving less accuracy, because all the codes have been done very accurately over a long period of time. We can just use that velocity momentum solver and add some new physics to it. For example, somebody is working on melting problem, they can add the physics of melting. Somebody is working on say other types of say combustion problem, they can add the physics of chemical reaction, things like that. Is it clear to everyone, particularly the students who have not done any CFD course, new students?
Yes.
So we will have a short discussion about this simple algorithm before finishing today's class. Let me just check how we are going. Say today's class, then Wednesday. By next Wednesday, you will give me, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, you will give me the project details. I have to create an assignment. 25th, 27th, if we finish the other algorithm. First, third, eighth. Okay, still we are ahead of schedule. 10th. We'll have a lot of time for the presentations. We'll schedule the presentations on 15th and 17th. So accordingly, you prepare. So this time we will have it on like in the class for those students who are present. As a result, we have to finish it before the exam. We cannot wait till after the exam. Anyway, there won't be time for checking also after the exam. It becomes very tight. We will finish it before the exam. So accordingly, you try to finish your whatever mini projects you have around 3 weeks to finish. 14th. Okay. So let us discuss about this simple algorithm somewhat more. So as I have discussed, the source term B in the pressure correction equation, this term is a good indicator of convergence. Okay, why? Because if it is reduced, it means that the star velocity values are going towards the correct value. So when it becomes 0, it means that the star velocity fields satisfy the continuity equation. Okay, this equation is satisfied. The discretized continuity equation is satisfied by the star velocity fields. So it means that we have reached convergence. Although we do not check convergence like this, but it is a good indicator of convergence. We check individually. For each grid point, we check. So if there are 1 million grid points, we check the value of U with the previous value of U at that grid point, value of V with the previous value of V at that grid point, and value of W with the previous value of W at that grid point. And if at any point the convergence criteria is not satisfied, like we are not below the tolerance, we assume that convergence has not occurred. We continue with the iteration. So to achieve convergence, you have to have the value relative error at all the grid points below the tolerance limit, not at some grid points or not the average value. At all the value or at all the grid points, it should be below the tolerance. Otherwise, if there is big error in 1 or 2 grid points, it can lead to drastically new solution or larger errors in the subsequent calculation. The second point to remember here is that the pressure correction equation. Okay, pressure correction equation is an intermediate step in the solution process. Okay, it's an intermediate part of the algorithm. It does not play any part in the final solution. Final solution is independent of how we derive the pressure correction. It controls the or it will determine the rate at which you reach the correct solution. But the correct solution will be the correct solution, whatever is the formulation for pressure correction. So all formulation of pressure correction equation will give the correct solution finally. But the rate at which you go towards the correct solution will differ. Okay. Why I write all formulation pressure correction? Because there can be different formulations. This formulation was achieved by omitting this term. We have removed this term and we have achieved this. Okay, maybe there are other types of schemes that can be developed with more accuracy, which can lead to faster convergence. But in this case also we will reach the correct solution. Okay. So ultimately the correct solution, pressure and velocities will be correct, but it will only matter like the number of time step will only be or number of iterations will be different for different formulations. So that is mentioned here. However, the rate of convergence depends on the formulation of the pressure correction equation. Okay. Again, there are two things to consider here. Sometimes we think just that the number of iterations being less is good. This may not always be the case. Okay, because say if the number of iterations is less, but the time taken for each iteration, the calculation for each iteration has become much more, then the overall time required may be more. For example, let me give two cases. One where we have omitted that term, and another case we have not omitted, we have devised another mechanism for solving the pressure correction term. So in one case, say where we have omitted the term, it takes 100 iterations to reach the correct solution, and each iteration takes 1 second. Okay, so you will need 100 seconds to reach the correct solution. In the second case, instead of 100 iterations, because we have taken up more accurate algorithm, it takes only say 80 iterations to reach the correct solution. But each iteration will take more time because of more calculation. Say each iteration takes 2 seconds. So instead of 100 seconds, now we need 160 seconds for each time step. but the number of iterations is less. Instead of 100, we have 80 iterations, but actual time taken is more. Okay, so we have to think about what is the actual time taken for running the problem, not only the number of iterations. So then another point is that under relaxation is generally used for pressure correction to avoid divergence. Okay, so one way of doing it is that instead of adding the full value of P dash to the P star, we add a part of this. Okay, say 0.8 into P dash or 0.7 into P dash, where this 0.8 or 0.7 is the under relaxation factor. Here it is denoted by alpha P. Okay, so P star into alpha P in P star plus alpha P into P dash, where alpha P is the under relaxation factor. It is between, it has a value between 0 and 1. Okay, so if you see that you are facing some issue with convergence in simple algorithm, you can reduce the factor. So instead of step 1, you can make it 0.8. Even if there is problem, you can make it 0.7, 0.6. You can go up to 0.1 also. Okay, so just make small changes in each iteration by adding very small fractions to the P star value. It will slow down the convergence, but it will increase the chances of convergence. Remember, I always stress on this point that chances of convergence and rate of convergence are entirely two different things. Okay, so we can increase one but decrease the other. Means, for example, we can increase the chance of convergence, so more chance of convergence will be there, but it will take more time to reach that correct solution. On the other hand, we can speed up the convergence so that convergence occurs faster, but there is also more chance that we will reach the incorrect solution, so there will be divergence. Okay, so by reducing the under relaxation factor to small values, we increase the chance of convergence but slow down the convergence. It takes more time to converge. Okay. It is used for most cases. Okay, even if you are using commercial packages, if you are finding difficulty with convergence, there are a few things you can do. One of the things is to reduce this under relaxation factors for pressure correction, velocity fields. Other options is to change if there are problems with the inherent grid, problems with the grid structure. Some grids are not correctly, like, are very skewed, that needs to be changed. There are other ways to do it, but these are some of the ways. Another point is that the velocity field at each iteration satisfies the continuity equation. Okay, because you have derived the pressure correction term based on the star velocity, and the pressure correction term, sorry, pressure correction equation is based on the star velocity. So whatever pressure correction is obtained, based on that, when you get the u dash values, v dash values, w dash values, and add this to u star, v star, and w star, it will automatically satisfy the continuity equation. Okay. If density is not known, okay, we have assumed that density is known. If it is not known, it can be also calculated from equation of state or similar other equations. For example, it's a function of temperature or similar type. However, if it is a highly compressible flow, then we cannot use this algorithm. We need different types of algorithms. So, for example, shocks are present, or nearly supersonic flow, or high subsonic flow, transonic flow. This is not a suitable algorithm. Okay. For simple variation of density, we can calculate. We can use the calculate the density and use that. But if you have the large changes in density, like strong dependence of density on pressure and density, strong relation between pressure and density, like in compressible flow, then it will be difficult to use this algorithm. Okay, it will not be suitable algorithm. There are other algorithms in those cases. And the final point here is that the pressure correction equation is an elliptic type of equation. Okay, it shows a two-way behavior. It's clear from this that it is dependent on all the neighboring points. Okay, the pressure correction is dependent on all the neighboring points. It is not a one directional. It does not show directional property like a parabolic equation. It is like an elliptic equation. So any change anywhere will influence the changes in all the other places. Okay, like in elliptic equation. So this concludes our discussion on simple algorithm. We will finish this part with a brief discussion on the boundary condition implementation. Okay, and in the next class we will discuss about the simpler and piezo algorithms. So implementation. So any questions till now? So one point is that, so internal grid points we know how to do. Okay, what will happen if we are at the boundary points? Okay. So this type of problems, when you are just going through the lecture notes and other things, it is you will generally we do not bother too much. But when we try to implement a code, then we face difficulties. That okay, now so in the class we had discussed how to do this, but now it is not matching because I do not have any neighboring point at the boundary. So how to tackle this or similar type of thing, means whatever discussion we do generally is true for all the internal points, but when it comes to boundary points, some variation is there. So then you have to think how to implement those cases. Okay. So let us have a quick discussion on this. So for momentum and continuity equation, so three momentum continuity equation does not need separate boundary conditions. So momentum equations you need the velocity. So either the velocity components will be given at a boundary or the pressure will be given. Okay. Velocity field will be given or pressure will be given. So if the velocity is given, pressure means pressure at each boundary will be given or velocity is given. So if velocity is given, so this is a boundary grid point. Okay, at the boundary we have this control volume, and this is UE is at the boundary grid point. Okay. So there is no point called capital E because it falls outside. Okay, there is no point capital E because it falls outside the domain. Okay, so this UE is already given to us. Okay, so in the velocity correction terms or in the momentum equation, wherever there is a term like this, UE is equal to UE star plus DE PP dash minus P dash. Okay, we do not need to replace this UE star plus DE PP dash minus P dash. So these boundary conditions we are discussing are for solving the pressure correction equation. Okay, so in this pressure correction equation, instead of writing UE star wherever, so in this case, instead of writing it in terms of, so this UE, what we used to do, we used to write it in terms of U is equal to U star plus DE PP dash minus P dash. We will not write that, but we will directly write the correct value of U which is given to us. Okay, as a result, this PP dash and P dash, so PP dash anyway will be present for other terms, but P dash will not arise at all because we are directly writing this, we are not writing in this form. So P dash will not be there. As a result, the coefficient for P dash, this A will become 0. Okay, so there won't be any issue in solving this equation. So anyway, because it becomes 0, we can solve the equation with all the other terms and find the correct value. Let me again repeat this. If U is specified, okay, the flow rate in the discretized continuity equation can be expressed in terms of UE instead of replacing UE by the velocity correction formula. UE is equal to U star plus D PP dash minus P dash. So instead of using this in this equation to replace UE, we can write directly the correct value of UE because it is now known to us as a boundary condition. As a result, because we are directly using this, we do not have to use, we will not have UE star term and we will not have D PP dash minus P dash. So this, there is no other term which will have P dash term. So as a result, there will not be any P dash term present at all in the equation. So the coefficient of P dash will be 0. Okay, so P dash does not come into the equation and A will be equal to 0. Okay, so there is no problem with the solution. Similar, in a similar way like previous internal grid points, we can just calculate. Only thing is that A will be 0. On the other hand, if pressure is given, okay, pressure is given here. So we can take P star as P given. Okay, we can take P star as P given, and P dash will be 0 for that grid point. Okay, so again, if P dash is 0, then automatically the corresponding coefficient will not come into picture, because the say whatever P dash is 0, so it will not come into picture. So directly we can solve the equation. Okay. One final point before we finish today's class is that if all the boundary conditions are given in terms of velocity, okay, there is no hint for pressure. What is the absolute pressure anywhere? You do not know what is the absolute pressure anywhere, because there is no other way of knowing the pressure, unless there is an equation of state or the pressure is dependent on temperature, something like that. If it is an incompressible flow and there is no pressure is not dependent, like there is no relation between pressure and density. So anyway, there is no way of knowing the pressure. So what we will see is that when you solve the equation, if any pressure field means the pressure at all grid points, if it satisfies the set of equations for pressure correction, say we have 1 million equations and 1 million pressure correction terms. If it is satisfies the equation for, if those 1 million pressure correction terms satisfy the 1 million equations, if we add a constant to all these pressure correction terms, that will also satisfy the equation. Okay. If we add any arbitrary constant, it will also satisfy the equation. This is because AP is equal to summation A and B. Okay, AP is equal to AE plus AW plus AN plus AS plus AT plus AB. So whenever you add some constant here, instead of P dash, you have P dash plus C. So the one additional term comes A into C plus AW into C plus AN into C plus AS into C plus AT into C plus AB into C. This is becomes equal to AE plus AW plus AN plus AS plus AT plus AB into C, or AP into C. So automatically here actually it is equal to AP plus AP into C. So it satisfies the equation. Okay. So if you add any constant, it satisfies the equation. Okay. As a result, we will not be able to know what is the correct pressure, absolute pressure, but we will be able to know the relative pressure differences. Okay. And in most cases, the relative pressure differences are the important thing. Means the relative pressure differences drive the flow. Okay. Unless the density is dependent on pressure or anything, we do not bother with absolute pressure, like it is the gauge pressure or relative pressure, which is important, okay, which drives the velocity field. So it does not matter if the absolute pressure is say 1 atmosphere or 2 atmosphere. If the relative pressure we know from one grid point to other grid point is 1.1 atmospheric pressure. That is what will. So if we have 1 and 1.1 or 2 and 2.1, both will give the correct velocity field, because the differences is what matters, the pressure gradient, and pressure gradient will be correct. Okay. So the pressure field that we will obtain in that case will just depend on the initial guess, because there is no other way of getting the converse solution of pressure. There is no dependence of pressure on anything. You will get an arbitrary value of pressure field. Okay. But the pressure differences will still be correct. So as I was saying, it does not cause any problem, as velocity fields are dependent on pressure differences and not absolute pressure. Okay. Only time the problem may occur is that in some cases, properties such as density may depend on pressure. Then the actual value of pressure is needed, as the solution is unique. So some more information will be required in those type of complex problems. Okay. One advantage of this relative pressure. So if we assume that initially all the relative everywhere the pressure field is 0, okay, we'll get some pressure field, relative pressure. So in most cases, what happens is that the pressure differences are very low as compared to absolute pressure. Okay, so say flow in a pipe, we have a pressure difference of 10 Pascal. So 10 Pascal looks like a big term, but when you consider with absolute pressure, absolute atmospheric pressure is 100 kilopascal, so 10 to the power 5 Pascal, okay, 1 lakh Pascal. So now if you consider the absolute pressure, the difference between 2 points will be 1 lakh 10 and 1 lakh. So the difference becomes very small as compared to the absolute values. Okay. So it increases the round of error. because you are subtracting two very large number to get a small number. So instead, if you just consider that the pressure is 10 and 0, then you get more accurate solution because the round of error is small, because you are subtracting two small numbers to get a small number instead of two. So if I subtract 1 million and 9,99,990 to get 10, okay. So we are subtracting one very large number from another very large number. So the change occurs at the 7th or 8th significant digit. So as a result, the round of error is much more, okay, in those cases. So it is better to use relative pressure instead of absolute pressure to reduce the round of error. This is important when pressure differences or changes of pressure are much smaller than the absolute values of pressure. Okay, as I was saying, when the pressure differences are very small, in most cases like flow or other things, it will be the case. The relative pressures are much smaller, differences between relative pressure as compared to absolute pressure. You can check any simulation result or anything, you will see that case. Unless you are going for like a compression process or something like IC engines or something like that. It's a flow over a cylinder or sphere or something like that. The relative pressure differences is very small. If instead of velocity boundary condition, at least one boundary condition is given in terms of pressure, then this problem will not arise. You will get the correct pressure, because we now know the pressure means, at least at one point we know the pressure, correct pressure. Then if we can calculate the relative pressure field, then all the other correct pressures also will be known. Okay, it will only arise if all the boundary conditions are given in terms of velocity. We will stop here, and in the next class we will go into the next algorithm, simpler algorithm. Any questions? Please read through this material. Okay, please read through this material. #21 already uploaded. In the next class, we will start the simpler algorithm.